Announcements by the Speaker.
Honourable members, I am compelled to address you on the remarks made by the member for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, during the 8th sitting of the House of Representatives, held on Thursday, October 10th, 2024. Honourable members, I find it inappropriate for me to repeat what was uttered. Additionally, it is unnecessary for me to do so because the utterances of the member for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West have been so widely publicized. The reprehensible statements which were directed at the member for Couva South, North, and the member for Cypriot have generated much public opprobrium and have brought the House into odium and disrepute. Honourable members, at the time that the remarks were uttered, the chair was being handed over to me by the Deputy Speaker, and therefore the exchange eluded my attention. Further, it would also appear from the video footage, which was widely circulated, that the utterances were not heard by many persons in the chamber, including the members of the opposition, as there was no contemporaneous outcry or denouncement. The statements were also not captured on the Hansard, but were simply labeled crosstalk. However, like the rest of Trinidad and Tobago, I was deeply troubled by the improprieties uttered during a period when the nation should have been focused on the business before the House. Honourable members, the derogatory comments prompt me to remind this House of the privileges we are afforded as members of Parliament and their commensurate responsibilities. Learning from McGee, parliamentary practice in New Zealand explains, and I quote, "Parliament's freedom of speech is an important expression of legislative independence. Without it, the House's ability to facilitate the government's legislative program and scrutinize its executive actions would be subject to legal challenge and control in the courts. The fundamental principle of freedom of speech in debate ensures that these functions are not justiciable," end quote. McGee further elucidates that, and I quote, "Members have a duty to use privilege of free speech responsibly, and one control mechanism is the prohibition on the use of unparliamentary language. Expressions used in debates may be ruled to be unparliamentary and be required by the Speaker to be withdrawn," end quote. Honourable members, it is abundantly clear that the freedom of speech enjoyed by members is to enable them to discharge their functions. However, it is a privilege which is subject to the standing orders of the House and to the well-established general rules regarding parliamentary debates as developed by the practice and procedure of Parliament. It is not to be abused in a manner that distracts members and the public from the business before the House, or even worse, in a manner that undermines the dignity of the House of Representatives. While it is emphasized that the speech of members cannot be challenged in a court of law, parliamentary privilege is not a license for offensive, insulting, and/or unparliamentary language. Therefore, as Speaker, I am not constrained in issuing to any member a reprimand commensurate with the severity of his or her degree of unparliamentary, objectionable, abusive, insultive, or offensive language. Honourable members, while some of our younger citizens may not have been familiar with the meaning of one of the remarks made by the member for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, its connotation and meaning have since been explained in the public space. Such crass and distasteful references to other members of this House have no place in this august chamber and have rightly been the subject to public contempt. Honourable members, I exhort us all not to resort to the obscene and the lewd. Insults and disrespect are not synonymous with wit. It will not be tolerated in this chamber by any member. As part of our political culture, I do not object to light banter across the aisle. In fact, it would be naive of me to expect anything less in a parliamentary setting. However, vulgarity can never be considered banter, and rude, unparliamentary language, and expletives in particular, certainly do not meet the standards expected of each member of this House. The first report on the Joint Committee on Parliamentary Privilege of the United Kingdom warned that, and I quote, "The privilege of freedom of speech in Parliament places a corresponding duty on every member to use this freedom responsibly. The duty is all the greater now that the debates of the two houses may be broadcast live anywhere in the world," end quote. Honourable members, it matters not that the member for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West was not directly making a contribution. It matters not that those deplorable words were uttered sotto voce, but unwittingly captured by an open microphone. It matters not that the utterances of the member for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West were not captured by the Hansard. The incontrovertible fact is that those remarks, which may have been intended to be inaudible in certain parts of the chamber, have now been heard across the country as a reflection of the members of this House, and in particular the member for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West. A reflection that diminishes the dignity of this House, and in particular the member. The duty to uphold the dignity of this House is a duty which we collectively bear. Therefore, all members, by enforcing the standing orders and holding one another to adherence, are fulfilling that duty. Any member who actively participated in, supported, or passively encouraged such crass discourse has also failed his duty and cannot escape the focus of this reprimand. Thankfully, one neighboring member rose to the highest traditions expected of members of this House by showing his disdain for what he heard. Honourable members, if we are conscious of our roles as leaders in society, we would understand that the remarks were even more damaging, given their misogynistic and homophobic character, as well as their criminal insinuations. As a woman, I am naturally led to condemn statements which seek to indecently portray another woman, statements which trivialize. As a woman, I am naturally led to condemn statements which seek to indecently portray another woman, statements which trivialize criminal activities which exploit women, or statements which impute improper conduct on behalf of other members. Honourable members may recall that it was on the said Thursday that I expressed my condemnation of the use of language which was not reflective of the civility expected of this House. I once again direct members to refrain from misogynistic, homophobic, and disparaging remarks in this House. However, as disappointed as I may be that my initial admonishment may have been muted, I am confident that as we proceed with the business before the House in the coming months, that all members will heed this guidance and strictly observe the standing orders. Honourable members, I have taken note that there is circulating in the public domain a statement akin to an apology attributed to the member of Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West. If in fact that statement is that of the member of Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, I am of the view that it does not satisfy that which is required of him to purge himself of his despicable behavior in this House. I rule that the member for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, at the appropriate time, shall unreservedly withdraw the unparliamentary, offensive, and insulting language which he used, and apologize to this House and its members for not respecting the dignity and the decorum of this House, and I so rule.